This is used for sighting, and it is used for calendar purposes by the ancient medicine men.
Ooh.
And they could have predicted when the lake trout were up on those reefs.
Doc, that's some powerful magic. Tell us how it works.
Hey, Dr. Juice here. Another episode of Juice TV. We're on the shore of Lake Superior, and I've done years of research on some Indian cairns, rock structures, archaeoastronomy structures that my theory is they were used to predict spawning times of trout so the early natives could put in their supply for the winter. It was 60 to 70% of their food. They had to know when the lake trout were up on the reefs. And so a calendar structure like these Pakasaw pits would help them predict when they'd be up on the reef. You know, Lake Superior used to have 14 separate stocks of lake trout, separate species almost. Lots of names: the bankers, the yellowfins, the salmon trout, the redfins, the moon eyes. I mean, there were a lot of these that the fishermen could tell they were different, and they spawned at different times on the cobble beaches under the water, finding their way back by the smell of the eggshell from last year that had hatched. This research has been on the University of Michigan. And so a medicine man, having the knowledge of putting these rock structures, sighting like a rifle sight at the setting of the sun on the solstice, would be a calendar structure. But also in the fall, they started putting these rocks and these structures aimed with the sunset when the trout were spawning on that particular reef. They could be a reef a half mile away, and the moon eyes weren't coming in there. The redfin weren't coming in where they were. They'd say, they'd look at the sunset, no, the fish aren't going to be here. We got to go to another cobble beach. They'd get to the other cobble beach, and the medicine man would line up these pits with the sunset, and that was the day. It might be September 15th, October 10th, November. You know, they're all different, and they're only up there for 1 to 2 weeks spawning in the shallows where the natives could get them with spears by torchlight, usually at night, out of their canoes. And so the medicine man was hot stuff by predicting when these fish were going to be on the reef. And they'd go out the next evening. Sure enough, the fish were there, the big 20, 30-pound redfins. They'd spear them, they'd put them in for the winter, because it was 60% of their food. To live up in this area was harsh. Yeah, it's getting kind of dark to see the pit, so maybe we'll light up the torches. And
it's close. It's very close.
Yeah, it's looking close. Boy, I don't know. Hard to tell how old these pits are, these cairns, but...
Well, if the sunset position is very close to our alignment, it's probably within the past 500 years or so, because recession will cause the sunset position to change.
Looking good. Yeah, it's right on there, and it's just touching. Oh, wow. All right. It's just starting to touch.
Wow. Wow.
I don't believe it came down that fast. It is on. All right.
Right on. Well, this may be just one piece of the puzzle, Greg.
Yeah, that's right. That's
fit
right.
another one in tomorrow. Another one. Another one. Well,
the sky's tonight.
Exactly.
Hey, Glenn, put it there.
All right, we did it.
So you can see some of these structures, and they're either pits that are built down. Some of them have walls that go up around them and a little walkway to get into them, but they're like calendar structures all around the world. Stonehenge, the medicine wheel out in Montana, the Mayan ruins. The Mayans were so exact they could tell the year of Venus within a couple minutes by analyzing through their structures. Well, the native Ojibwe here had that figured out. The medicine man knew when those trout were going to be on that reef, and it meant the survival of his tribe.